Welcome to ZogCast Halloween. This week, I'm gonna show you how to build a breakaway tombstone.
Here's what you'll need. Foam insulation. I used the white stuff from a home center. A tape measure. Sandpaper. A knife with a very long retractable blade. A marker. And some kind of string, or I use headphones as a substitute. First, cut your foam into rectangles the size of your tombstone. Now grab your string and lay it across the rectangle. Now fold your string in half. Now halfway between that string is halfway across the rectangle. Grab your marker and mark a semicircle along the top. This is going to make the top of your tombstone. Grab your knife and cut through the foam. Remember, when you're doing this process, leave the protective covering on your foam. Now trace that back 3 more times. You want 3 exactly the same size. You're going to later glue these together and make a nice thick tombstone that's going to look very good. Now, I sanded off the edges a little bit. You don't need to do too much. This is just going to make the edges nice and smooth and get rid of all the little flaky stuff. Now, figure out which one you want to be the center of your tombstone and cut a hole in it. We're going to fill this with flour or baby powder to make the explosion happen. Now it's time to remove the protective covering off of your foam. Now I just freehanded the letters on there, RIP, I did pretty generic, and then grab your knife and cut them out. Kind of cut like a V shape around the outline of your letters, and then just scoop it out with your finger. You don't need much scooping, and it makes a very nice kind of embedded rock cut stony look. Now just score the back of your tombstones, not the front side but the back side, and then break it apart. The scoring is going to allow you to break it apart the edge you scored it on. Don't cut all the way through, just very lightly cut it with your knife, that way it has a break line. You want to copy this back onto all 3 sides of your tombstone. That way you have 3 identical pieces that are all broken in the exact same way. Now I glued the pieces back together. Don't glue the parts that you broke. Just glue the 3 sections together. That way you have all 3 sections glued together, but you still want, I guess, the cracks in there. That way it's not really together. It's still kind of falling apart. Now cut around the edges and make sure everything's nice and equal. And then you can do one more thing of sanding if needed. But just make sure everything's equal and nice and pretty. That way it looks like a nice tombstone. Now paint the edges of your tombstone first. Just lightly mist it with black since my foam's white already. You don't really need to paint it all the way. Just make a nice little misting and it gives a kind of black stony feel. And don't paint your letters all the way, leave them white.
This is a little crack where you put your flour, your baby powder in.
To kill a zombie, one must put a bullet in its brain. To destroy a vampire, a wooden stake must be thrust into its heart. But what if a vampire is bitten by a zombie and a new zombie-vampire hybrid is created? A stake to the heart wouldn't kill it, and a bullet to the brain wouldn't stop it. To fight such an ungodly creation, the world would need a new hero. A hero born into an unimaginable destiny. Will this hero prevail, or will the world have a new evil master? Zompires, coming this Halloween to a theater near you.
And that concludes the first ever ZogCast Halloween special. And it only gets better from here, so tune in next Friday.